Now this video is about grudges, and something near and dear to my heart, because with the exception of my own family and very few friends, I am, and none of us are grudge holders. It is beyond us. Literally beyond us. I don't know what it would take, really, to hold a grudge against someone on an individual level, because I never have in my life. Yeah, I can be angry for hours to maybe a few days, and that's it. I'm an aw shucks kind of a person, right? And that comes from sort of a golden rule sort of thing, you know, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Do you want people holding grudges against you for anything from silly shit to like big fuck ups, right? Now, you know, if you're a psychopath who purposely harms people, then in a calculated way, that's the difference between sociopaths and psychopaths. Sociopaths are just fuck-ups who learn they're lazy fuck-ups who learn they can get away with almost anything socially, that there's very few repercussions, and they have no empathy, and they don't really particularly care what people think of them, except on the facade, except in what they say. They pretend like they care, but they don't. Psychopaths are smart and calculating. They want to fuck you. They want to fuck you. I mean, in the general sense. It's not that they're serial killers. So, just anyway. So unless you're something like that, where you really kind of deserve to be have a grudge held against you, then why hold them against other people, right? So you know, lighten up. But anyway, I know so many people. I know people who will hold grudges for weeks and months, even years, right? And I think doing that is one of the most self-destructive behaviors that you can engage in. Now, why do I bring this up? Because I've taken note that Thai people, they're on average, they're grudge holders. It's pretty amazing. When I went out to Phuket and built that house, at first Yui had her uncle next door, who's a building contractor. Really, he does houses. He has workers work for him. And initially she said, I want to hire him. You know, and we hemmed and hawed back and forth about like contracts and, you know, one price for the whole thing. And I'm like, nope. I said, you work like laborers. He's a laborer too. And I'll just pay every day cash. I don't want to get into these contracts because if he says, okay, I'm going to do this much for 35,000 or 50,000 baht, then either it's going to end up being more, or they're not going to get the shit done right. Daily pay. And it worked fabulously. And I got it done in 2.5 months. So anyway, along the way, we're like maybe 2 weeks into it, and he's fucking up by, you know, coming to work late, being hungover. This is her uncle next door. And she'd had enough, and they basically fired him one morning on the spot. Big uproar about that, which is understandable. What wasn't understandable is the two of them did not speak to each other for months. I was there 5 months, and they still hadn't said a word, almost a word to each other. The only thing they exchanged was, you know, he was pissed off about the runoff into his yard from the roof when it rains, and, you know, a couple other just complaints type stuff. But 5 months later, they still haven't said a word to each other. They live next door. He's her uncle, her mom's brother, right? Then the uncle on the other side, who's a science teacher, the guy that right before I got here, I bought a brand new iPad. I had an iPad mini, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get the full-size one. I bought it, and I didn't like it. It's too heavy, too big. I loved the iPad mini. So anyway, Kitty was his name. He's a high school science teacher, and he went and bought a tablet, and it was a Huawei tablet, really cool display and everything, and it was brand new. My iPad at that point is like, what, 5 months old, 5 months young, whatever. And just, I like, you know what, let me help this guy. I said, would you be interested in trading straight across your brand new Huawei, still in the box, for my iPad? Oh, he jumped at the chance. So happy, right? He's prancing around. I have an iPad, I have an iPad, right? So the status, kind of simple, you know. Ties, you know, everybody has an Android phone, and phones and tablets. Boy, if they can get an Apple, right, an iPhone or an iPad, whew, big status. So anyway, but I still had the iPhone, and I hadn't yet decided to go to Android. And I love that Huawei tablet, by the way. And it does something I can do really easily. It's just a push of a button. It streams to my Roku stick on the TV. So I can download something, like if I can't, like I've mentioned this before, I'm happy to rent a movie, but when they put barriers in your way, because I'm in Thailand, right? So I can't rent something, right? Or Google has completely fucked up their play. So, you know, before I rented from the Play Store, you know, I don't mind paying $3, $4 for a movie to rent, right? But then they're like, no, it's not supported. Now they switched it over to YouTube, which isn't supported in Thailand. I mean, how fucking stupid is that? I've mentioned this before. So in that case, I'm like, well, fuck you. So I go grab it from Pirate Bay or another site, download it to my tablet, punch a button, and it streams wirelessly to the Roku stick on my TV. So anyway, I love that. I had an iPhone, and I decided to go to Android. And so I gave the iPhone to Yui, and Kitty, who had the iPad, wanted to buy it from her. She said, no, I'm gonna sell it, and I don't know what he was offering her or something. She said, I can sell it for more, then I'm gonna use that money to buy a new phone for Chili, one of the daughters. I think she got like $5,000 for it, which at the time was like maybe $170. It was an iPhone X, the first, you know, buttonless on the front phone from Apple, a couple years old. Anyway, he just got like upset, like a girl, like pouty, like upset, and he didn't talk to her for months because of that, right? And then since then, as I've gotten into you know, little liaisons with women here and there of various sorts, Our girls, but also girls that like this one that works in an insurance company. You know, it's like the littlest thing, and boom, that's it. Boom, done. And like Mook, the one I crossed paths with here a few times in the, and I saw her yesterday too, but I wasn't recording video, just walking. And it's been 2 months or so since we had our little dust up or kerfuffle, and just now she's finally smiling back at me. You know, I make fun of her. I'm like, see, you can smile. Yeah, it's amazing to me how entitled and what is it, kind of like just like self-absorbed people are, to imagine that somebody else really gives a fuck that you're upset. Like I always say, look, fuck off. What you think of me is none of my business. Literally develop an attitude like that. I don't fucking care. Fuck off. And you'll do yourself good. Just move the fuck on. Yeah, I leave the door open. In fact, I've told him that. I said, hey, like the insurance company girl that I talked about in the money video, the previous one. I leave the door open. Sure. You know, once they come to their fucking senses or whatever, have a change of heart or whatever, there probably won't happen. But if it is, it's like, I don't hold a grudge. See? I'm free. It is amazing to me, the self-imposed see you at Vibes. British guy out here riding his bike. It's one of the guys, him and the German guy. We're there almost every morning for that 99 baht breakfast. It's just hard to resist. So anyway, just the self-imposed prisons people put themselves in for the sake of ideology or butt-hurt feelings and all this nonsense. Get over yourself. You're not that important. Your importance is a mind-created fantasy. And for many of you religious people who think you have a personal God that cares about you, you're full of shit. You're delusional. 7 billion people, but God cares about you and is directing your life. God. It's hard to describe that level of delusion. And that's what makes you feel so self-important. Your importance is in your own mind. You know, really the extent of your import in the world, ought to be in the minds of your children. You ought to strive to be important to them, right? And that's something you can't fake, because the kids will know, right? So stop faking, stop thinking of yourself as so important, and strive to be important in the minds of children and perhaps employees too, if you have a company. That's 2 good ways. You be a good person if you're important to children and you're important to employees. That's all you fucking need. You're not important to God. Even if there was a God, you still wouldn't be fucking important. Get over your fucking self. Put yourself and get out of these self-imposed prisons that make you hold grudges against other people. Fuck off. Nobody gives a shit. Take your little grudge and your feelings and go fuck yourself. All right, that's all.